We are live.
Yay! Happy Friday. It is the last day of March. And for anyone going to Ice and FireCon, starting tomorrow should be really easy to count down, even if you believe in the wrong theory. So it's pretty simple. I am old new dude. He is,
Richard York, Asher's trueborn son.
and this is Tyrion 6 of A Clash of Kings. And if you watch any of these, you know we start with the brains of the operation, which is Richard. He will say what he saw in the chapter, and then I'll jump in with my stupid stuff every now and then. So take it away, Richard.
Thank you, sir. And maybe your theories aren't wrong; they're just different interpretations. But
There you
anyway,
go.
uh, so in this chapter, Cersei is poisoned and loses her guards. Alistair gets men, but with ridicule, and Pycelle is arrested for loyalty. Through the door came the soft sound of the high harp, mingled with the trilling of pipes. The singer's voice was muffled by the thick walls, yet Tyrion knew the verse. I loved a maid as fair as summer, he remembered, with sunlight in her hair. Sir Marin Trant guarded the queen's door this night. His muttered, my lord, struck Tyrion as a tad grudging, but he opened the door nonetheless. The song broke off abruptly as he strode into his sister's bedchamber. Cersei was reclining on a pile of cushions. Her feet were bare, her golden hair artfully tousled, her robe a green and gold samite that caught the light of the candles and shimmered as she looked up. Sweet sister, Tyrion said, how beautiful you look tonight. He turned to the singer. And you as well, cousin. I had no notion you had such a lovely voice. The compliment made Sir Lancel sulky. Perhaps he thought he was being mocked. It seemed to Tyrion that the lad had grown 3 inches since being knighted. Lancel had thick sandy hair, green Lannister eyes, and a line of soft blonde fuzz on his upper lip. At 16, he was cursed with all the certainty of youth, unleavened by any trace of humor or self-doubt, and wed to the arrogance that came so naturally to those born blonde and strong and handsome. His recent elevation had only made him worse. So Cersei might be a maid of summer, but a more important role of this song is the point that the maid of winter with moonlight in her hair. See Triplet Targaryens, episode 7.
Can you imagine
Uh,
Jamie Lannister standing there with a high harp singing?
but Cersei always really preferred Rhaegar over Jaime, right? And so
Right.
this is really her trying to live out her real fantasy.
This is true.
Tyrion had been annoyed when the Redcloaks had dragged a half dozen of the Scabrous prophets down to the dungeons without consulting him, but they were not important enough to battle over. No doubt we will all be better off for a little quiet in the streets. That is not why I came. I have tidings I know you'll be anxious to hear, sweet sister, but they are best spoken of privily. Very well. The harpist and the piper bowed and hurried out, while Cersei kissed her cousin chastely on the cheek. Leave us, Lancel. My brother's harmless when he's alone. If he brought his pets, we'd smell them.
Mhm.
Boom, too, and I love both your shirts.
I don't got a Tyrion Lannister shirt, so
So the entry for Earth in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was changed to mostly harmless, and this description should probably be similarly amended.
mostly harmless.
Uh, is this the bed where Robert died? I'm surprised you kept it. It gives me sweet dreams, she said. Now spit out your business and waddle away, imp. Tyrion smiled. Lord Stannis has sailed from Dragonstone. Sissy bolted to her feet. And yet you sit there grinning like a harvest day pumpkin? Has Bywater caught up the city watch? We must send a bird to Harrenhal at once. He was laughing by then. She seized him by the shoulders and shook him. Stop it! Are you mad or drunk? Stop it! It was all he could do to get out the words, I can't, he gasped. It's too funny. Stannis! What? He hasn't sailed against us, Tyrion managed. He's laid siege to Storm's End. Renly is riding to meet him. Stannis and Renly are fighting each other? When he nodded, Cersei began to chuckle. Gods be good, she gasped. I'm starting to believe that Robert was the clever one. Tyrion threw back his head and roared. They laughed together. Cersei pulled him off the bed and whirled him around and even hugged him for a moment, as giddy as a girl. By the time she let go of him, Tyrion was breathless and dizzy. He staggered to her sideboard and put out a hand to steady himself. Do you think it will truly come to battle between them? If they should come to some accord, they won't, Tyrion said. They are too different, and yet too much alike, and neither could ever stomach the other. And Stannis has always felt he was cheated at Storm's End, Cersei said thoughtfully. The ancestral seat of House Baratheon, his by rights. If Do you know how many times he came to Robert singing that same dull song in that gloomy, aggrieved tone he has? When Robert gave the place to Renly, Stannis clenched his jaw so tight I thought his teeth would shatter. He took it as a slight. It was meant as a slight, Cersei said. I sincerely doubt that Robert shared his motives with Cersei.
Yeah.
Our characters are often wrong. I get that Dragonstone is far less rich and powerful, but Stannis was heir at the time, and Dragonstone is the traditional seat for the heir. I'm not convinced this was really meant as a slight. Our characters are often wrong. Anytime motives make more sense when someone is incorrect or lying, I tend to prefer the interpretation where the characters are incorrect or lying. So, anyway, What do you think?
I think he definitely meant it as "you're my heir."
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with Dragonstone being such a rich seat for House Targaryen, and the job that Stannis did holding Storm's End, I think it was a reward. I think it was "you're my heir, you're my younger brother."
No, he's heard this song, but he's already made his decision as king, and he's promoted Renly, and he's definitely the sort that would like wimp out on trying to go back on his word and so forth, right? He wouldn't. Once it's pointed out to him that it is a slight, I'm not that surprised that Robert, who we see like how kind of weak he is, that he would be reluctant to create more conflict with his younger brother now that he's done this, right? And so trying to like
he probably gets along with his younger brother better too.
Well, there's that too,
yeah.
But he's not gonna turn around and piss off Renly afterwards.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of his, I won't say exact first acts as king, but as a first act of the king, he's not gonna sit there and
right. I don't think he thought it through that much, realizing just how much stronger that Storm's End was than Dragonstone.
Yeah.
And yes, Stannis did raise the objection, but he probably didn't do it right then at the moment in public. So anyway.
Yeah.
Shall we raise a cup to brotherly love? Yes, she answered breathless. Oh gods, yes. His back was to her as he filled 2 cups with sweet arbor red. It was the easiest thing in the world to sprinkle a pinch of fine powder into hers. To Stannis, he said as he handed her the wine. Harmless when I'm alone, am I? To Renly, she replied, laughing. May they battle long and hard, and the others take them both. So yeah, we definitely get this others language in the South. You asked that question.
Yeah.
Is this the Cersei that Jaime sees? When she smiled, you saw how beautiful she was, truly. I loved the maid as fair as summer with sunlight in her hair. He almost felt sorry for poisoning her. It was the next morning as he broke his fast that her messenger arrived. The queen was indisposed and would not be able to leave her chambers. Not able to leave her privy, more like. So Cersei's been pretty terrible to Tyrion his whole life, so I won't hold this against Tyrion too much.
Yeah. I was watching a video, I can't remember who, what my memory is, but they were talking about Bloodraven and the ends justify the means. And there are a lot of characters in this story, especially those that are playing the game, that the ends justify the means, regardless of what the means are. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the whole point of this of the great characters and so forth is George presents us with Aegon, who burns everyone at Harrenhal, right? It's basically genocide, right? And we know that it was led by a real scumbag who was making people's lives miserable, and so we're like, maybe it's justified, maybe it isn't, right? Yeah, and then he gives you Maegor the Cruel, and the Order of the Green Hand is like they think they can see reasons why Maegor acted the way he did, and that maybe he was justified. And then you see Tywin, you see him flooding an entire house, right? And most people probably think he's not justified. Some people think maybe he is justified. It's part of the point of this is to like pose those questions. And I don't think George thinks that there's a right or wrong answer to the things that he gives us in these books. I think he believes that it's thought provoking and makes you challenge your own beliefs and assumptions about these things.
Yeah, he leaves the right or wrong up to the reader.
Yep. He wants you to look through them and look at your own heart and see what do you think about this sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it is gray.
Yeah.
And that's this whole conversation with war, right? And when you think about war, it's basically it's ironic that he's the reason for starting Cersei shits and ending Tywin's. Talk about full circle. Oh, I like that.
Oh, Lizzie, that was freaking awesome.
So, I mean, it's the whole concept is that war is blood sacrifice. You're sacrificing frequently teenage boys um, against their will to accomplish something, right?
Yeah.
And he specifically says sometimes justified, sometimes it's not, right? That's George's opinion. And I think I still think it's funny that LML's like, oh, you can tell anybody who does blood sacrifice is evil, and the books are consistent about that. And then like the very next stream, it's like Dany is purely good. She's the most purely good character. I'm like, the character who sacrifices Mary Muster against her will and orders the torturing of daughters of potential witnesses is
Yeah.
only purely good? No, everybody's gray. That's the whole point, right? And
Well,
anyway,
he has a big problem with the Azor Ahai stabbing Nisa Nisa to
yeah,
save
and
mankind.
but it's literally that's literally Dany, right? Dany and Mary Muster is the waking dragons from stone, right?
Right.
And yet he's claims that Dany is purely good. And I'm like, no, they're all gray.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it's like we said. What was it last time? If you like somebody, you tend to give them
Yeah,
patents.
yeah, exactly. And he gives her a complete pass. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just like totally disproves his whole premise that this isn't going to be about blood sacrifice. And I'm like, I think it is. I think that's his whole point. Is it's really about, is war justified? Sometimes it is, and that means sacrificing boys, right? Usually, right,
Mhm.
to accomplish something, right? Innocent children to accomplish something, and that's
Right.
anyway. That's kind of the point. But all right, let's move on. Sansa Stark looked especially lovely this morning, though her face was as pale as milk. Lord Giles stood coughing, while poor cousin Tyrek wore his bridegroom's mantle of miniver and velvet. Since his marriage to little Lady Miranda, the 3 days past, the other squires had taken to calling him wet nurse and asking him what sort of swaddling clothes his bride wore on their wedding night. Tyrion looked down on them all and found he liked it. Um, I have to plug the Dragon to Man's video, What Happened to Tyrek Lannister, which argues that Littlefinger orchestrated the riot. Dorcas
Yeah.
definitely realized something was happening, and that it was a powder keg and dangerous situation, but Littlefinger probably orchestrated it. Tyrion enjoying the view from above reminds me of Bran enjoying his godlike perspective.
Yeah.
Here are our terms, said Tyrion. Robb Stark must lay down his sword, swear fealty, and return to Winterfell. He must free my brother unharmed and place his host under Jaime's command to march against the rebels Renly and Stannis Baratheon. Each of Stark's bannermen must send us a son as hostage. A daughter will suffice where there is no son. They shall be treated gently and given high places here at court, so long as their fathers commit no new treasons. Cleos Frey looked ill. My lord Hand, he said, Lord Stark will never consent to these terms. We never expected he would, Cleos. Tell him that we have raised another great host at Castaway Rock, that soon it will march on him from the west when my lord father advances from the east. Tell him that he stands alone without hope of allies. Stannis and Renly Baratheon war against each other, and the Prince of Dorne has consented to wed his son Trystane to the Princess Myrcella. Murmurs of delight and consternation alike arose from the gallery in the back of the hall. Ask this of my cousins, Tyrion went on. We offer Harrion Karstark and Sir Wylas Manderley for Willem Lannister, and Lord Kerwin and Sir Donald Locke for your brother Tien. Tell Stark that 2 Lannisters are worth 4 Northmen in any season. He waited for the laughter to die. His father's bones he shall have as a gesture of Joffrey's good faith. Lord Stark asked for his sisters and his father's sword as well, Sir Cleos reminded him. Sir Ilyn Payne stood mute, the hilt of Eddard Stark's greatsword rising over one shoulder. Ice, said Tyrion. He'll have that when he makes his peace with us, not before. As you say, his sisters? Tyrion glanced toward Sansa and felt a stab of pity as he said, Until such time as he frees my brother Jaime unharmed, they should remain here as hostages. How well they are treated depends on him. If the gods are good, Bywater will find Arya alive before Robb learns she's gone missing. I shall bring him your message, my lord. Tyrion is appreciating and empathizing with Sansa, and it's Perhaps interesting foreshadowing of Tyrion's future bigamy as he continues to echo Ned.
Yep. Morning there, Sir Dave Zilla.
Hello, lords and ladies. Hi, Sir Dave. And now the thrust. Vylar, he called. My lord, the men Stark sent are sufficient to protect Lord Eddard's bones, but a Lannister should have a Lannister escort, Tyrion declared. Sir Cleos is the Queen's cousin and mine. We shall sleep more easily if you would see him safely back to Riverrun. As you command. How many men should I take? Why, all of them. Vylar stood like a man made of stone. It was Grand Maester Pycelle who rose, gasping. My lord Hand, that cannot... Your father, Lord Tywin himself, he sent these good men to our city to protect Queen Cersei and her children. The King's Guard and the City Watch protect them well enough. The gods speed you on your way, Vylar. At the council table, Varys smiled knowingly. Littlefinger sat feigning boredom. Pycelle gaped like a fish, pale and confused. So in theory, the regent is above the king in his hand. Pycelle is loyal to the ruling family and the one person who outranks the king in his hand. He's astonished to see the one person who outranks Tyrion being stripped of her power.
Yeah.
Thorne was as prickly as his name, a spare, sharp-featured man of 50, hard-eyed and hard-handed, his black hair streaked with gray. I have been shunned, ignored, and left to wait, like some base-born servant. Truly, Bronn, this was not well done. Sir Alliser and I are old friends. We walked the wall together. I am sent to tell you that we found 2 rangers long missing. They were dead, yet when we brought the corpses back to the wall, they rose again in the night. One slew Sir Jeremy Riker, while the second tried to murder the Lord Commander. Distantly, Tyrion heard someone snigger. Does he mean to mock me with this folly? He shifted uneasily and glanced down at Varys, Littlefinger, and Pycelle, wondering if one of them had a role in this. A dwarf enjoyed at best a tenuous hold on dignity. Once the court and kingdom started to laugh at him, he was doomed. And yet, Tyrion remembered a cold night under the stars when he'd stood beside the boy Jon Snow and a great white wolf atop the wall at the end of the world, gazing out at the trackless dark beyond. He had felt, what? Something, to be sure. A dread that had cut like that frigid northern wind. A wolf had howled off in the night, and the sound had sent a shiver through him. Don't be a fool, he told himself. A wolf? A wind? A dark forest? It meant nothing. And yet, he'd come to have a liking for old Jeor Mormont during his time at Castle Black. I trust that the old bear survived this attack? He did. And that your brothers killed these dead men? We did. You're certain that they are dead this time? Tyrion asked mildly. When Bronn choked on a snort of laughter, he knew how he must proceed. Truly, truly dead? They were dead the first time, Sir Alliser snapped, pale and cold with black hands and feet. I brought Jared's hand torn from his corpse by the bastard's wolf. Littlefinger stirred. And where's this charming token? Sir Alliser frowned uncomfortably. It rotted to pieces while I waited, unheard. There's not left to show but bones. Titters echoed through the hall. Lord Baelish, Tyrion called down to Littlefinger, buy our brave Sir Alliser 100 spades to take back to the wall with him. Spades? Sir Alliser narrowed his eyes suspiciously. If you bury your dead, they won't come walking, Tyrion told him, and the court laughed openly. Spades will end your troubles with some strong backs to wield them. Sir Jocelyn, see that the good brother has his pick of the city dungeons. Sir Jocelyn Bywater said, As you will, my lord, but the cells are near empty. Yoren took all the likely men. Arrest some more then, Tyrion told him, or spread the word that there's bread and turnips on the wall, and they'll go of their own accord. The city had too many mouths to feed, and the Night's Watch in perpetual need of men. He smiled wanly. You came for men, did you not? The cold winds are rising, the wall must be held. And to hold it you need men, which I've given you, as you might have noted if your ears heard anything but insults. Take them, thank me, and be gone before I'm forced to take a crab fork to you again. Give my warm regards to Lord Mormont, and to Jon Snow as well. Bronn seized Sir Alliser by the elbow and marched him forcefully from the hall. Grand Maester Pycelle had already scuttled off, but Varys and Littlefinger had watched it all, start to finish. I grow ever more admiring of you, my lord, confessed the eunuch. You appease a Stark boy with his father's bones, and strip your sister of her protectors in one swift stroke. You give that black brother the men he seeks, rid the city of some hungry mouths, yet make it all seem mockery, so none may say that the dwarf fears snarks and grumpkins. Oh, deftly done. So Dorcas summed this up nicely.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to point out is we are once again witnessing an echo of Ned here, right? So a
Yep.
black brother has has run to the hand of the king to tell them that that there's a real risk of war, right? The,
Right.
the war has started. He's basically run to the hand of the king to tell him that the war has started, and the hand tells him, take all the men you want from the dungeons and go back to the wall, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway,
There was that moment though that maybe somebody was trying to bring up a memory in Tyrion
hmm
to try to maybe take this serious. Um,
yeah. So maybe they needed to. Maybe he wasn't going to give them the man if they didn't do that.
yeah, well, I mean, the person or whoever it is that tried to bring up that memory there at the wall and what he felt, um,
hmm
which might possibly be what the night watchmen feel when they feel the other's cold type thing. Um, might have wanted more from him. Might have wanted something even more
Sure.
of an answer than what he did give. So
Yeah. I mean, it's not. It's certainly not sufficient.
yeah.
If Marcella weds Tristan Martell, she can scarcely wed Robert Arryn, can she? Not without causing a great scandal, he admitted. Bigamy in this story? How scandalous! The Triplet Targaryens, episodes 1 and 2.
Oh man.
The Queen will never permit you to send away her guard. She will. You'll see to that. A smile flickered across Varys' plump lips. Will I? Oh, for a certainty. You'll tell her as part of my scheme to free Jaime. Varys stroked the powdered cheek. This would doubtless involve the 4 men your man Bronn searched for so diligently in all the low places of King's Landing. A thief, a poisoner, a mummer, and a murderer. Put them in crimson cloaks and lion helms. They'll look no different from any other guardsmen. I searched for some time for a ruse that might get them into Riverrun before I thought to hide them in plain sight. They'll ride in by the main gate, flying Lannister banners and escorting Lord Eddard's bones. He smiled crookedly. 4 men alone would be watched vigilantly. 4 among 100 can lose themselves. So I must send the true guardsmen as well as the false, as you'll tell my sister. And for the sake of her beloved brother, she will consent, despite her misgivings. They made their way down a deserted colonnade. Still, the loss of her redcloaks will surely make her uneasy. I like her uneasy, said Tyrion.
Mhm.
So Dorcas does catch on quickly.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Try not to get too drunk tonight, and see that your axe is sharp. The Stone Crow's axe is always sharp, and Shagga's axes are sharpest of all. Once I cut off a man's head, but he did not know it until he tried to brush his hair. Then it fell off. Is that why you never brush yours? The Stone Crows roared and stamped their feet, Shagga hooting loudest of all. Shagga's a good sport.
Yeah.
What, what is the meaning of this? I am an old man, your loyal servant. Tyrion hoisted himself onto the bed. So loyal that you sent only one of my letters to Doran Martell, the other you gave to my sister? No, squealed Pycelle. No, a falsehood, I swear it. It was not me. Varys, it was Varys, the spider. I warned you. Do all maesters lie so poorly? I told Varys that I was giving Prince Doran my nephew Tommen to foster. I told Littlefinger that I planned to wed Myrcella to Lord Robert of the Eyrie. I told no one that I had offered Myrcella to the Dornish. That truth was only in the letter I entrusted to you. Pycelle clutched for a corner of the blanket. Birds are lost, messages stolen or sold. It was Varys. There are things I might tell you of that eunuch that would chill your blood. My lady prefers my blood hot. Make no mistake, for every secret the eunuch whispers in your ear, he holds 7 back. And Littlefinger, that one, I know all about Lord Peter. He's almost as untrustworthy as you. Shagga, cut off his manhood and feed it to the goats. Shagga hefted the huge double-bladed axe. There are no goats, half-man. Make do. All right. Oh, Pycelle. Pycelle is lying, but there's a lot of truth in here. I mean, Dorcas withholding 7 out of 8 is a pretty reasonable estimate.
Oh yeah. And whatever he was about to say about Littlefinger was probably 100% true too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hold still, Maester, urged Tyrion. When Shagga gets angry, his hands shake. Shagga's hands never shake, the huge man said indignantly. It's hard to bluff with honest partners.
Yeah.
All I did for House Lannister. A sheet of sweat covered the broad dome of the old man's brow, and wisps of white hair clung to his wrinkled skin. Always. For years. Your lord father, ask him. I was ever his true servant. 'Twas I who bid Ares open his gates. That took Tyrion by surprise. He'd been no more than an ugly boy at Castle Rock when the city fell. So the sack of King's Landing was your work as well? For the realm! Once Rhaegar died, the war was done. Ares was mad, Viserys too young, Prince Aegon a babe at the breast, but the realm needed a king. I prayed it should be your good father, but Robert was too strong, and Lord Stark moved too swiftly. How many have you betrayed, I wonder? Ares, Eddard Stark, me, King Robert as well, Lord Aaron, Prince Rhaegar? Where does it begin, Pycelle? He knew where it ended. That Pycelle considers this proof of loyalty as interesting. Like, Tyrion realizes that it proves willingness to betray, right?
Right. Well, I mean, isn't Pycelle still one of the ones that Tywin's like, if you need to, take his head?
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't think too much of his loyalty then.
Right. He was a wretched king, vain, drunken, lecherous. He would have set your sister aside, his own queen. Please. Renly was plotting to bring the Highgarden maid to court to entice his brother. It's the God's own truth. Pycelle knew Renly's plan. He really is the only competent Lannister stooge. He's got to be this loyal to the House Lannister. He's got to like be of Lannister blood or something, doesn't he?
It has to be either that or
he's so completely dedicated to the house.
Either that or like Connington to Rhaegar, his fondness of Tywin
with Tywin,
might
maybe
might border into the love arena.
Yeah, maybe. And what was Lord Aaron plotting? He knew, Pycelle said, about. I know what he knew about, snapped Tyrion, who was not anxious for Shagga and Timett to know as well. He was sending his wife back to the Eyrie and his son to be fostered on Dragonstone. He meant to act. So you poisoned him first. No, Pycelle struggled feebly. Shagga growled and grabbed his head. The clansman's hand was so big he could have crushed the maester's skull like an eggshell had he squeezed. Tyrion hissed at him. I saw the tears of bliss among your potions. And you sent away Lord Aaron's own maester and tended him yourself so you could make certain that he died. A falsehood! Shave him closer, Tyrion suggested. The throat again. He totally wants Lord Tywin to do something.
Yeah.
The axe swept back down, rasping over the skin. A thin film of spit bubbled on Pycelle's lips as his mouth trembled. I tried to save Lord Aaron, I vow. Careful now, Shagga, you've cut him. Shagga growled. All-fathered warriors, not barbers. When he felt the blood trickling down his neck and onto his chest, the old man shuddered and the last strength went out of him. He looked shrunken, both smaller and frailer than he had been when they burst in on him. Yes, he whimpered, yes. Coleman was purging, so I sent him away. The queen needed Lord Aaron dead. She did not say so, could not. Varys was listening, always listening. But when I looked at her, I knew. It was not me who gave him the poison, though, I swear it, the old man wept. Varys will tell you, it was the boy, his squire, Hugh he was called. He must surely have done it. Ask your sister, ask her. Tyrion was disgusted. Find him and take him away, he commanded. Throw him down in one of the black cells. Then drag them out the splintered door. Lannister, he moaned. All I've done has been for Lannister. Yeah, he's definitely dedicated to House Lannister for some reason.
Yeah.
Favorite line of the chapter, warriors, not barbers.
Shagga is just as funny as Tyrion.
When he was gone, Tyrion made a leisurely search of the quarters and collected a few more small jars from the shelves. The ravens muttered above his head as he worked, a strangely peaceful noise. He would need to find someone to tend the birds until the Citadel sent a man to replace Pycelle. He was the one I'd hoped to trust. Varys and Littlefinger were no more loyal, he suspected, only more subtle and thus more dangerous. Perhaps his father's way would have been best. Summon ill and pain, mount 3 heads above the gates, and have done. And wouldn't that be a pretty sight, he thought. I've certainly always found it strange how he effectively fools himself into trusting the two who are actively trying to replace the Lannisters.
Yeah. And Sir Daytilla, Shagga always ready to feed the goats. Yes, he is.
Up next is one of Arya's least enjoyable chapters, I think. Arya 6.
Is that when they first get to Harrenhal?
Yeah, well, they're first captured and on their way. And
on the way, on the road.
Pretty miserable on the way.
Hmm.
When Whenever I hear him say Lannister, I always think of the old dude in the beginning of Emperor's New Groove, the one they threw off the tower. I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Lannister's groove.
Lizzie, you're on fire today. Are you feeling
As
better?
usual.
Did you actually get sick and go to the doctor, or are you feeling better? Yeah, same here. I got 26 days till I leave for Ohio.
No, but I'll actually go to the doctor. I give up.
Gotta go.
Yep.
I usually put it off as long as I can, then my wife makes me go. All right, well, that's pretty good for Friday.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun chapter.
A little bit of plot building.
Well, I do like his plan to try and get Jamie out.
It's really good plan.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Not that it goes anywhere. But,
yeah. Well, you notice that Bronn was the one looking for them, but Varys knew about it.
Yeah. Oh, you're thinking Bronn might be working with Varys?
No, it's just that Varys is very aware of.
We should be saying Dorcas, by the way.
Yeah, Dorcas. Dorcas is very aware of Tyrion's plans, which might indicate that he might actually have known what was in those letters. Maybe. All right. Are you good for Monday?
I think so. Yeah.
Next Wednesday is your off one.
No, that got moved.
Oh, it got moved? Okay.
It's no longer Wednesdays.
All right. Well, Arya and Tyrion got the same amount of chapters so far in this book.
Yep.
And they're probably the some of the favorite to actually read. Good catch.
Good catch.
Which one?
Said that was a good catch.
Was it the Varys possibly knowing
that Bronn might be actually working with Dorcas?
It's possible. So Dave Zill, I appreciate you jumping in today. Lizzie, we definitely love having you.
Oh, somebody, somebody, it's either Bronn or Shay has to be working with Littlefinger, because probably Shay, because he knows the story of Tysha, the Dorcas catch. No, we have to say Dorcas.
There you go. Littlefinger knows the.
Yeah, he knows about Tysha.
Huh.
He tells Sansa.
Oh wow.
He tells Sansa, "Do you know what he did with his last wife? Right? He gave him to the Lannister guards, and he blames Tyrion for it, but when he grew bored with her, he gave her to the Lannister guards." And,
so that's definitely not common knowledge.
No, that's my point.
Dave.
Nobody knows that.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that, right? So the only people that could tell him are Bronn or Shay, right?
Was Bronn there when he told the story? I know he is in the show, but I can't remember.
In fact, Bronn is the one who says, "I would have killed the man that did that."
Right. I would put my money.
You may get your chance.
Yeah, I would put my money on Bronn.
Yeah.
I still say that Shay is Shirella, but
maybe. He tells Sansa part of it, but he also thinks he slept with Cat. Gollum and I hates him forever. Well, yeah, I mean, he thinks he did.
Yeah, you're right, Lizzie. He told Bronn.
He definitely told Bronn because Bronn is the one that said I'd kill the man who did that. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you got anything else?
No, I think that's enough.
All right, it's Friday. Got other stuff to do. Yeah, I still got to get ready for Ice and FireCon. I still got shirts, stuff that came in. I got to put with a. I'm not an organizer. You should know by watching any of my videos without you. I definitely can't organize. But
well, I'm just laid back and just going to meet people and watch. I'm not planning on
Yeah, well, I'm dressing up as Ned Stark for a debate on cat with the sword ice. So I'm loving this. I'm gonna try to have. It's my first con. I've never been to one. I'll probably never get to go to another one. I'm gonna have as much fun as I can have. As my
What?
wife
You're not gonna
will allow
go?
me.
You're never gonna go again?
I don't
What?
know. I mean, well, there's not going to be another Ice and Fire Con. Definitely one not next year. I don't know if they're going to do it again the year
Really?
after. Yeah,
Why is that?
I don't know. I'm not in the loop.
Hmm.
I'm on the fringes.
Well, I
But
mean, there's the big Game of Thrones cons now that HBO's got their show back
yeah,
on the air. So they had a huge one, right, with
yeah.
Vegas.
One niece just went to a Comic Con type thing down in Florida, and there's just so many people they couldn't even enjoy it. I mean, it's not on my radar to go to a big one. Are you?
To watch it gets hang last. Lizzie says there will be another.
There will be? All right, good. Then I'll probably go to the one in 2025. All right. As on Fridays, we always wish you to have a very safe and fun weekend. We definitely want to see you back here on Monday.
Absolutely.
Short and sweet. It's Friday. I'm Old New Dude. He is.
Richard York, Asher's trueborn son.
Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you, Sir Dave Zilla. Lady Thistle, I know you're in your crafts room working like a bat out of hell. So we appreciate you. Y'all be good. Take care.
Absolutely.
See you Monday. Bye, Richard.
Have a good one. Bye.